My name is Jim Solari, and I'm a doctoral candidate at University of Florida in the Department of Counselor Education and Supervision. This slideshow details my dissertation proposal, which is titled Therapy with Disordered Gamers, an Interpretive Phenomenological Analysis of Counselor Experience. The presentation will include an exploration of the following items. First, I have identified the problem which has led me to engage in this area of research. Second, I will identify the purpose of the study. Third, I will detail the research questions. Fourth, I'll identify the theoretical framework which underlies my approach to learning more about this area. Fifth, I will identify the importance of this study. Sixth, there will be a very brief review of the literature in this presentation. For a more in-depth review of the literature, you may refer to my written proposal, period. If you are interested in obtaining a copy of this, you can email me at j.solari@ufl.edu. Finally, I will explore the research design or the methodology that I am proposing to use for this study. First, let's explore the problem. For several years, clinicians and researchers alike have identified the issue of video game addiction or gaming disorder. Much has been learned about this topic, including treatment, brain abnormalities, comorbid disorders, personality traits which may contribute to the development of the disorder, and other contextual issues which may exist for individuals with this disorder. Much has been learned. However, there is currently a lack of available data on the experiences of counselors who have engaged in therapy with disordered gamers. No one has taken the opportunity to interview counselors in the community who have engaged in therapy with disordered gamers. It is possible that these therapists know little about the disorder, or that perhaps they have unique insights into the disorder that have yet to be discovered by researchers or clinicians who have published their work with individuals in this population. To learn more about gaming disorder would not only benefit this researcher, but will hopefully benefit other researchers, counselors, individuals with gaming disorder, and family members and friends of those with the disorder. Next, let's explore the purpose of this study. The purpose of this study is to use a qualitative methodology to develop a deep understanding of the lived experiences of counselors who've engaged in therapy with a client with gaming disorder, using a phenomenological approach, including interpretive phenomenological analysis, will allow the researcher to identify experiences that these therapists have had. It is possible that the individuals who, according to the World Health Organization, meet the criteria for gaming disorder, it is possible that these therapists do not feel that gaming disorder is the primary issue, as it well may not be, or that gaming disorder is in fact not a disorder. They may attribute the behaviors to underlying issues at home or at school or in personality traits. We don't really know. They may not conceptualize this as gaming disorder, as I've said, but they may see it as something else. They may have different names for it themselves, and the way that they conceptualize it will ideally guide their treatment plan, their approach, and the execution of their treatment. Using interpretive phenomenological analysis will allow me to identify all of these potential topics, all of these areas, to have a full and thorough exploration of them, and to help me from the ground up conceptualize what it is we may have to learn from these therapists. Next, let's identify the research questions. For this study, I have two research questions, a primary and a secondary. These two questions address very different areas. However, hopefully I will be able to gather enough data to answer them both. If not, at least I hope to have enough data to answer question number one. So question number one, what are the lived experiences of counselors who have engaged in therapy with a client experiencing gaming disorder with gaming disorder? My second question, a secondary question, is what are counselors' general perceptions of disordered gamers? This is a part of their experience, but I feel that this may be valuable to explore and to include in feedback to researchers and other clinicians. In the following slides, we will explore the theoretical framework which underlies the approach I have chosen to explore this topic. There are two theoretical frameworks which will inform the research process in this study, and they are social constructionism and phenomenology. First, let's explore social constructionism. This philosophy suggests that rather than one absolute reality, that each individual experiences his or her own separate reality. As it pertains to this study, I am interested in exploring the individual realities of therapists who have engaged in counseling disordered gaming clients. Let's briefly explore the philosophy of social constructionism a little further. There are four primary conceptually driven practices involved in examining reality through a social constructionist lens. First, it is important to challenge current knowledge or truth. It is important to question things. It is important to explore, and if something is true, quote unquote, it will become apparent through investigation. Truth is entirely relative, and it is contextually bound within culture, within time period, within different belief systems. For example, the understanding of the concept of God in the United States, in certain areas of the United States, is drastically different from the understanding of God in areas such as pockets of Sunni or Shiite Muslim areas in the Middle East. Each of these areas or these individuals that live within these areas assume that they possess truth, or that their knowledge is truth. In reality, how can both of these exist unless each group lives within its own experience of reality? Second, in the social constructionist mindset, it is important to examine the context which contributed to current knowledge. It is important to understand the culture. It is important to understand the time period. It is important to understand the factors surrounding the current aspect of knowledge, which contribute to it and which help to maintain it. Third is to acknowledge these social processes which help to maintain current knowledge. The fourth and final aspect is one that I hope to address in this study, and that is to understand the implications for current knowledge. Given the current knowledge that therapists have, or those that I will be interviewing, given the current knowledge that they have, how are they treating clients with gaming disorder? In this proposed study, second theoretical framework. Next, let's identify the more than 300 studies, and review of the literature. A thorough search of several data. Next, let's explore. Due to the novel for this proposed research project, to solicit the primary data source, this slide contains data will be analyzed. Let's explore the steps. As was mentioned in the interpretive phenomenology review, the purpose